Should the Toronto Maple Leafs trade for Vincent Trocheck?
Yeah, so I said this to you earlier. The fact that if that's actually like a reason why they're looking for him on the market is Domi getting injured. That pisses me off because Domi cannot play center. This has been proven so many times on this team. I don't know why they think that he still can. He's fucking terrible at center. I love Domi. I want him to be successful in the Leafs. I would love it if he was an all-star center for us. He's just not. He just cannot play center. Period. So that should not affect their, willingness to go out and trade for him. Now, as far as trading for Trocheck goes, obviously a player like him would benefit the team immensely. You're putting a guy that can do it all. He's, great at killing penalties, good defensively. He can score. A good leader. He played in the Olympics, won gold medal, right? That being said, the problem with trading for a guy like Trocheck is the Leafs have very limited young players and very limited picks right now. So I'm not a huge fan of spending what little capital they have on older players. If they're going to go for a center, I like to see someone more like Mason McTavish, for example. Someone who's younger, who can maybe fill that third line center role, and then hopefully develop into the second line center maybe next year or the year after that. Because I do think that JT can still play second line center. People seem to forget the fact that he was one of the best scoring second line centers in the league last year.
Yeah, 30 goals.
I don't know why everyone's
70
acting.
points. Yeah.
Everybody in the league wants a second line center like JT right now. Not everybody, but a lot of teams would actually kill to have him playing second line center on the team. And a lot of people in Toronto think that he's not a second line center anymore. And I agree that it'd be best for his career at this point to be on the wing, but I think he's still capable of playing center at this point. He's
on
still
the wing,
good on the draw
or
too.
the third line center too. I mean, I think if they got Trocheck, I think he'd probably get bumped down to 3C. Which I mean,
yeah, or you'd be winger.
Yeah, or he'd be wing. Yeah, that's true because he can play left wing. So then you would have Willie on the right side, John on the left. But I think because they'd probably want to have Count in the top six. So if they did, they'd probably want to bump him down to center.
Yeah.
Right. Third line center, and that would be pretty nasty. I mean, John Tavares going against other third liners in the league. But yeah, the issue is the price. I've heard people say, yeah, I have no idea of how true this is, but it could be something like Danford and Robertson for Trocheck.
Yeah, and so then you're spending very little. What very little D capital you have left in youth wise, you're spending it on an agent center. I just don't like that move for the Leafs. Does it make you better now? Of course it does, but how far is Danford from being able to help the team? He could help the team this year, maybe even, but
it's true.
Probably next year for sure.
Yeah.
Right, and so it's back to the whole thing where they're trying to rush all the time. That's why they've gotten themselves in this spot. Or I've heard even people talk about maybe trading Koblar, right? The kid from Norway that's been playing really, really well. He played in the SHL this year. I mean, he's a guy that could play center for the Leafs in a year or two, right? It's the same thing they just did with Midden. They traded away a good young center for help now, and guess what? He'd fucking help them now because he'd be playing third line center for them, right?
It's true.
So I just don't love the idea of trading away young players for an aging center. If they do it, I mean, it obviously makes the team a lot better. It probably gives them one of the better forward groups in the league all of a sudden. I mean, they still have a good forward group, but adding him would be huge. But once again, I think it's not a good move. I mean, maybe if they could do their first guy from Colorado, and then I don't know, Robertson and maybe one of their goaltenders. But then once again, I don't know why they would want a goalie from us because they already have Shesterkin. So if they could find a trade where they're not trading any strong young players they have right now, then maybe I would consider it.
What about someone like Noah Chadwick?
Yeah, someone in the defensive group that's a little on the more fringe side. Yeah, but I don't know how much he moves the needle for New York.
Yeah, he would be a throw-in. Yeah.
I mean, if he's what pushes it over the edge, sure. I mean, I'm willing to part with Noah Chadwick for fucking Vincent Trocheck. Of course, that'd be a first as well, and Robertson, but, I'd be willing to get that done. Noah Chadwick is probably a third pairing guy in the NHL, barring some crazy development from him once he hits the league.
Yeah, I mean, you never really know because he's still young, but, that's his projection, is, third pairing, maybe he can be a fringe second pairing defenseman.
Yeah, so if the trade really makes sense, and like I said, they're not giving up, I think they have, not that you really consider Nye as a prospect as a young player, Nye's Cowan, and then Danford, and Koblar. Like those four guys, they really shouldn't be trading unless they're getting something that's young in return. Like I said, a guy that can play in the team for the next 10 years and still be effective. Like
Well, then we obviously we have to add whoever they draft at first overall, which we'll get into, but hopefully is Gavin McKenna. I really hope we don't mess that up.
yeah,
So then that's that's five, right? That's an extra guy. Um, it's not the worst prospect pool. I mean, I think people
no,
it
it's
gets a
not.
little
It's not.
overblown
It's
by
not.
people sometimes. Like they're like, oh, the Leafs have zero prospects. Nobody like
No picks. Yeah, it's like they do
yeah.
have guys that are available.
And we did
Like it's
recoup.
not.
We got a first for Wah.
Yeah, it still is shallow, but it's not nothing. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that there's consideration too. Like this probably doesn't work with the Rangers because they don't need a goalie, but like you have three guys this year that can't play on that team unless they run three goalies this year, which would be really weird, and they won't do that for the whole year if they did. They have Wool, Hildeby, and Stolars. All three of them are not on two-way contracts, obviously, so they can't get moved down to the AHL without going through waivers. And if any of them were to go through the AHL waiver system, they would get claimed immediately. So you have to trade one of them. And is there a team you could find, like an Edmonton, like a Colorado, like a one of these teams maybe that would bite on maybe a little bit of a goalie upgrade, to try and maybe get some center help through that instead of trying to trade away some of your high end prospects, right? Because I do think that a guy like Stolarz is definitely attractive to teams for sure.
100%. Yeah, and like he's had a good playoff run with them recently. He didn't have a good season this year, but I think he's got enough
He just
seasons.
wasn't healthy. That's the thing.
Yeah,
And
he
that's the
wasn't
concern
healthy.
with him in general, and Wool
Also,
too, if they can stay healthy, right?
also
So
horrible defensive team he was on this year. Like it's
yeah,
pretty tough to look good in a team like this.
yeah,
And I think he's got like a good enough pedigree that teams can be like, wasn't a good season. I think we can bet on this guy bouncing back, and we
yeah,
can definitely still get some value for him, especially in a market right now that's hungry for goaltenders. Right, there's not a lot to go around this off season.
yeah, definitely.